Hi, welcome to my blog. My name is Tom Shue, and today I'm going to teach you how to do star trails, a quick and easy way. Okay, the normal way you do star trails, first of all, let me show you what star trails look like. If you look here, you'll see these are paths of stars. As the Earth rotates, if you have a long exposure, what it will do is it will give you a little strip of the star, and then the gaps in the stars right here are when the shutter's closed. So sometimes it takes like a 30-second exposure or a 3-minute exposure, stuff like this, where you miss the trail between it is because there's a gap. When you look at stuff like this one, obviously that this was done with faster shutter speed or something like this. So there wasn't such a long processing between each one of the frames. So these guys will sit up all night long and do star trails. Um, they'll have like thousands of images from the whole night, and they'll go in and stack them, and they'll get these star trails. Well, I don't like to spend all night doing that, but I do kind of like the effect. And I will show you a way you can use Photoshop to get the same effect or very similar effect, but a lot quicker. It's a lot quicker in post, and it's a lot quicker in processing. Or I should say, it's a lot quicker than spending all night trying to get these pictures. So if you see here, I've got some images, and it's just some star points. Okay, these are called points. Okay, the reason why they're called points is because it's not really a trail. If we zoom in, you can see that it was like one exposure for 30 seconds long, and let's just let it load up here. It just take a few seconds. This is why Lightroom is so much fun. Okay, you can see there's some noise in the image, but you can see that it's not just a point. There are these small trails. And if we go to the next one, you'll see that they move. So I did take 4 or 5 images, and then you can see that they're moving across the sky. Okay, so we're going to load this into Photoshop. We're going to right click and say edit in Photoshop. We click here, and then it's going to open up in Photoshop. So let's do that. Okay, here's the same image. Okay, and there's an action built in Photoshop that what it does is it allows you to run a rotation. It's called stars. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this whole thing. I'm going to Control A to select it, and I'm going to copy and paste it into a new project. So Control C, Command C on the Mac, File, New. Okay. The reason why I'm doing this is because I want to paste it, Control V. I want to have a backup copy on a separate file, because when you do your rotation, it's going to blur everything. Okay, it's going to take these trees and blur them, and we're going to have to use these to make a selection. So we're going to have to bring this back over. So just make a separate, image altogether, but they're both the same. So we'll go back to our first one, and I'm going to deselect. And under the Actions folder, which looks like this little play button triangle. If you can't find your actions, just go in here and click actions. And then if you look in there, you'll see that there's one that's called star trails. If you look right here, you'll find one actions, and you'll find star trails. Okay, so when you click on star trails, it'll be inside this folder like this star trails, and you go to star trails rotation. Okay, and you click on this and you push the play button and watch what happens. It starts running this action where it turns the layer, and it flattens it, it transforms it, and it merges the layer, and it selects the current layer. And what it's doing is it's turning the image in a 360-degree circle. So what I'll do is I'll pause this, and when it's done, I'll show you how it's rotated and made star trails out of our star points. Okay, so we're back, and here's what the image looks like after it's run the star trails action, and it looks pretty darn good. It's taken and made little points out of all of those points of light, which they were stars. We just didn't sit there and expose for a really long time. We did one exposure instead of stacking hundreds of images. Now we can run this again, and it will continue to make more star trails. It'll start to close these gaps a little bit and make these longer. But for the sake of the tutorial, we're just going to run the action one time. Okay, so I'll hide the action. And this is where we're going to go into our other file, and we're going to select it. We're going to do Control A or Command A on a Mac to select it all, and we're going to copy it. Control C or Command C as in Charlie. Okay. Now we're going to come over here and we're going to paste it. Control V or Command V, and now we have this on top. So we're going to close down this layer. We don't want this underneath. We just want to see this layer. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make a selection so that we just have these evergreen trees to go over top of our star trails. So we're going to go into channels, and if you look in your channels, you can see that if we select one of these guys, you'll notice that it's breaking up red, green, and blue, so we're not getting any colors, but one of the backgrounds is darker. See, this is dark, this is, kind of all the colors, but when you select one of these red or green ones, the red one seems to be a lighter background. What we're doing is we're looking for a contrast area. Okay, so we're going to make a selection. You can make a selection by control clicking on red. It's like my tutorial on luminosity masks. We're going to hold down the control key and we'll get this box. Okay, this means we're going to make a selection when we can click on this red channel. So we're going to hold down our control key, and that's command key on a Mac, and we click red. And you see these little stars? Now they're starting to twinkle. Okay, so go back to the layers palette. Okay, and that selection still remains. And what we're going to do is we're going to hit delete. Okay, and you see how the sky got brighter? We're going to hit delete again. Okay, so now that we've got rid of some of those stars, we can use our magic wand tool. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll make a copy of this and we'll bring it to a new layer. Okay, but so we'll grab our we're going to try to make a copy of everything but these stars. We want to have all of this foliage. So we're going to grab our magic wand tool and we'll make a selection here. Okay, so we'll hit Control D or Command D on the Mac. We'll make our selection with the magic wand tool. Okay, so now we've made a selection. So we want to invert this selection because we don't want to copy the sky. So if we try to copy and paste this, Control C, and we make a new layer, and Control V to paste it, you'll see that it made a selection of everything but the evergreen. It got the sky. Okay, we don't want that to happen, so we have to invert the selection. Okay, so we're going to back up, Control Z. Okay, and so we're going to hit, with our selection made, we're going to hit Control Shift I or Command Shift I on a Mac, and that inverts the selection. Now we're going to hit Control C to copy, make a new layer, and Control V to paste. So if we hide this, you can see that the foliage is now on top. However, there's some noise on this that we want to get rid of. And don't worry about it not being dark enough, because believe me, it's dark enough when it's stacked on top of that bottom layer, because that tree is still there. It's just blurred, but the body of the tree is still there. We just need the fine line detail around the edge. So we'll go back to this top layer, and we're just going to grab the eraser tool, okay, and we're going to get rid of a bunch of this stuff that's all over the frame. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just depends on how much time you want to spend. So I'm going to hit pause. I'm going to clean this up, and we'll come. Okay, so here we are. Let's zoom in, and you can see that I've eliminated all of the extra noise except around the edges. It's okay for that to come through. And let's turn on our star trail layer, and you can see that you can't see that stuff. Okay, what we can do is to get rid of that red fringe on this layer, we can desaturate it. So let's close this down, and we'll go Image, Adjustments, Hue Saturation, and we'll just grab our saturation and we'll bring it down and not get rid of any red bits that were, because we were on that red channel. See, if we turn it up, you can see there's red. Now watch, we bring it down. We can even darken it up if we want. We can lighten it or darken it. Okay, Control Z to back out there. So with the saturation down, to get rid of the red coloring, click OK, turn it on, and now that red information is gone. So you have a star trail image. Last thing we'll do is we'll crop it. So we'll go in and grab our crop tool. We'll just bring it in the edge, because what happens when you make that stack, it rotates it out. So we're going to shift in a little bit just to get rid of that edge that was there. And that will look good. Enter. We'll get rid of that selection, and there you have the image. Now to bring it back into Lightroom, we're just going to hit Save or Control S, and it will save the file, and we'll open it up in Lightroom. We'll be able to export it. So there you have it, how to make a cool star trail image with a single image, 1/32 exposure, instead of hundreds of files that are all long exposures, and processing all of those files after the fact. So if you guys have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And until next time, we'll see you soon.